It's a tool to amplify human creativity and ingenuity. I welcome you all to this FDP on AI tools for scientific paper and grant proposal writing. May I now invite Dr. N. Nagarajan, Principal Ciet, to present. Welcome.
Good morning, everybody. So, at the outset, I would like to thank the Mechanical Engineering Department for, in association with Research and Development Cell, have organized this program, that is AI tools for scientific papers and a grant proposal for writing. I think this is the need of the hour, I think. Yes, Mrs. Urmila told, though this AI cannot replace the human brain, but it will enhance their thought process. And nowadays, in the teaching academic profession, you cannot survive without taking research into account. And most of the time, our faculty, they are spending time in writing the papers because it's a different art of skill. Everybody cannot write in such a manner as the particular journal expected. So they spend most of the time on that. That can be reduced, lessened by this particular AI tool. Today we have got the chief guest, Dr. K. Soumya Rani, editor of Cactus Communication. I have to thank her for all the way. She came out from her place to our institute to spend time with us. Thank you, madam. And it will be very useful for all the faculty who are aspiring research presently. I could see now many of you are in the research process. You have registered for your PhD. Besides that, we made it compulsory for everyone to publish a paper every semester because that is needed to keep the institute status high in terms of NAC and NBA. So I request all the faculty, we can pay attention to this particular session, and if you have any doubts, you can clarify then and there, and you can make this particular session to be more beneficial. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. May I invite Dr. M. Saurirajan, sir, to introduce our resource person.
Most respected Principal Sir, Dean Academics Ma'am, Dean Administration Sir, heads of various departments, and my dear fellow faculty members, very good morning to all of you. It's my great pleasure and privilege to introduce the resource person of this important event, Dr. Soumya Rani Ma'am. Actually, Dr. Soumya Rani Ma'am is a multifaceted professional both in academia and entrepreneurship. As far as her academic qualifications are concerned, Dr. Soumya Rani Ma'am completed her BSc Biotechnology in PSG College of Arts and Science, Coimbatore, and MSc Biotechnology in Bharatiya University, Coimbatore. She did her PhD in the field of plant biology at Bharatiya University, Coimbatore, and University of Osnabrück, Germany. Her additional qualifications include MPhil, PG Diploma in Bioinformatics, and PG Diploma in Advanced Life Sciences. Her academic achievements also include CSIR Junior Research Fellowship, Jawaharlal Nehru Center for Advanced Scientific Research Summer Research Fellowship. With a robust background in scientific research and extensive experience, Dr. Soumyarani ma'am is a groundbreaker in her field. As an editor, with a dedicated tenure of 5 years in the field of editing, she has spent over 3 years in collaboration with Cactus Communications. Her portfolio includes the refinement of more than 1,500 scientific documents, spanning research papers, reviews, theses, grant applications, and science communication contents. Notably, she has been recognized as an expert editor in the Center of Excellence for Biochemistry, Genetics, and Molecular Biology. As a speaker, she has amazed over 6 years. Her journey began in 2017-18 as a tad young ambassador, and since then she has delivered talks on diverse topics such as AI tools in academic research, manuscript writing and publishing, career opportunities in life sciences, fellowships and scholarships to study abroad, and design thinking. The esteemed institutions that have hosted her include NIT Delhi, PSG Institute of Medical Science and Research, VIT Vellore, NIT Warangal, and many others. As an entrepreneur, she is a founder of Saumi's AWW, a startup established a year ago. Dr. Soumyarani is at the forefront of empowering academic and research institutions. This venture specializes in enhancing research footprints through FTPs and manuscript editing services. Also, actively contributes to improve research and research component scores for accreditation from nodal agencies such as NAC, NBA, NIRF, etc. In summary, Dr. K.S. Soumyarani ma'am stands as a distinguished figure among the women startup incubators. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Dr. Savrirajan sir, for throwing light on our research person's profile. Now, let's move on to resource person, Dr. K.S. Soumyarani.
So good morning. It's nice to be here. You have a lovely campus at a very lovely place in Coimbatore, I would say. So how many of you here are movie buffs, who watch movies, who have kids who watch movies? If so, you would recognize this face as Doctor Strange from the Marvel movies. And for those of you who watch much more movies, you'll also recognize him as Benedict Cumberbatch, who played Sherlock Holmes in one of its most popular versions. But then this guy also went on to play in another phenomenal movie called The Imitation Game. So why exactly are we talking about movies now? Because this movie talks about someone called Alan Turing. Alan Turing was a British English mathematician, absolute genius, who helped Britain win the World War against the Nazis. So these Germans, they had something called Enigma, a machine which was completely difficult to break. So it was a code creating machine. It basically transmitted messages to different parts of the world to the German troops in code, and nobody was able to break this code. And it was because Alan Turing could break the code that Britain could actually win the war. But Turing did much more than just break the Nazi code. He developed something known as the Turing test. So Turing test is basically a test which is administered to machines. So why are tests being administered to machines? To prove that they are really, really intelligent. So a truly intelligent machine will be able to convince a human that it is not a machine but rather a human. So a machine comes, you chat with someone, and if that machine is able to convince you that it is a human, then the machine wins. And that is what the Alan Turing test was all about. And this test is still valid as a metric to see how good a machine is. And because he developed this particular test, and also because of lot other contributions, Alan Turing is considered as one of the founding fathers of artificial intelligence, and he lived somewhere in the 1950s, which means artificial intelligence is several decades old. It has been around for 5-6 decades as of now, but then maybe it did not enter into the vocabulary of the common man, which has happened only 1.5 years ago, I would say. And when we say artificial intelligence, it is not only about ChatGPT, it is not only about robots, it's much beyond all your large language models, much beyond your natural language processing and so on. So artificial intelligence refers to a whole set of different functionalities that machines can do. It's basically an umbrella term, not confined to one of the fields. And artificial intelligence has become so much a part of our daily lives. If you have tried using these latest model phones to take a picture, you would see that the AI mode automatically kicks in with OnePlus and other models. So you try to focus on one object, the phone wants to focus on a different object. Taking a simple picture has turned into a competition between yourself and the AI on your phone every single day. The selfie I try to take in the morning after I get ready for a session is a struggle, believe me. That is how pervasive AI has become. Even when it comes to recruiting, nowadays the scenario is such that on one end, companies have AI to recruit people. On the other end, the candidates are using AI to write their resumes. So it's basically no longer human versus human, it's AI versus AI to recruit a human. That's how much AI is there. And manufacturing industry and engineering disciplines have been one of the first to embrace AI, because there's a lot of heavy lifting, there's a lot of precision work that has to happen, and this is where computers and AI can be of great use. And then we have moved on to these autonomous cars. What is so special about these cars is that they do not run on code. It's not a human sitting there somewhere writing code to help these cars navigate actual roads, but in reality, these cars, they learn how to drive, they learn how to avoid accidents by looking at other drivers drive. They look at simulations, they look at the videos of actual drivers driving on the roads, and they are able to learn from this information onto how to expect situations on the road and how to avoid them. And one interesting report in medical sciences is where AI was used to understand patient reports. So say we are talking about diseases like cancer. There are something called biomarkers in your blood, and if these biomarkers are present in someone's blood, it shows that they can develop cancer sometime down the lane. But such biomarkers do not exist for mental health diseases. Alzheimer's, for instance, even for Alzheimer's you have markers, but when we are talking about schizophrenia, for instance, depression, for instance, there is no marker which can tell you that this person will get depression in 10 years. This person will have schizophrenia in 10 years. But the AI was able to predict that. We have no idea what biomarkers it looked for, what parameters it assessed for, but it could precisely tell us with decent level of accuracy who will get such diseases 10 years down the lane. And AI and robotics has been a part of surgeries, has been a part of the hospital systems and diagnostic systems for so on. And this particular system called Da Vinci has performed more than 2 million surgeries, not only in the US, but across the world. So on that note, I'm Dr. Soumya, and I enjoy doing 3 things in my life at the moment. The first is that of being a mother to a almost 10-year-old and all the stray dogs, cats, birds she brings along. The second is that of being an editor with a company called Editage. Here we stand on the threshold between journals and researchers. We help journals vet papers from researchers. We help researchers write and improve their papers so that they have better chances of being published by the journals. And the third role I donned pretty recently is that of an entrepreneur, where I have a small startup that works closely with institutions, researchers, faculty such as yourself through webinars, through workshops, and through editing services, once again to help you navigate the publication process in a bit easier way, I would say. And when we think about academia and publications, there has been a mad rush to publish. Everyone wants to publish because everything is finally tied back to publication. Your rankings are tied to your publications, your promotions are tied to your publications, your appraisals are tied to your publications, and this has not been a very nice place to be for most of us, and also this has led to a lot of unscrupulous practices, predatory journals, journal hijacking, paid publications model, you name it, we have it in the publication process. But then something happened this year that kind of challenged this dogma that we have been holding dear to our hearts. So the Nobel Prize gets announced this year, and the face you see there on the screen must be a familiar face if you have been following these announcements. So this lady, young at heart, happens to work at the University of Pennsylvania somewhere around 10-15 years ago, and she was working on something called mRNA, packaging mRNA and delivering it to humans. This research was not the cutthroat research, it was not very famous, popular, which means there were no grants. So if you don't do popular research, you don't get money. Nobody is willing to back up your research. And also there were not many publications because not many people were actually working in this field, which means she did not bring in grants, no money. She did not have publications, no fame for the institution. So the university administration decides to demote her. They bring her to a position much below her pay scale. They cut her salary, and then eventually they force her to resign. She goes out of UPenn, joins a German company, continues her research. Come 2019, what happened? COVID happened, and what is the most effective vaccine for COVID? It's an mRNA-based vaccine from the company called Pfizer, and Pfizer tied up with this German company where this lady was at work, and they come up with this vaccine. COVID vaccine was the first ever approved mRNA vaccine to be on the field, and Kathleen Carrico goes on to win the Nobel Prize for Medicine or Physiology this year. So she did not have high impact publications. What she did was research that had high impact on the society. So this leaves us with an important question. What kind of research do you want to do? Do you want to do research that has an impact, or do you want to do research that will get you into high impact factors? I don't have an answer. That's for you to choose. Yeah? So until last year, somewhere in 2022 November, artificial intelligence was not a word we used. But today, you go to any family function, any marriage, there'll be one group of uncle and auntie sitting in corner talking about how ChatGPT has spoiled our culture. Or even more, I do not know. Yeah, so everything happening today is being linked back to ChatGPT. We keep talking about AI like it's salt and sugar, all that thanks to this tool called ChatGPT. So ChatGPT was introduced in November 2022 by a company called OpenAI, and interestingly, Elon Musk was one of the first investors in OpenAI. He leaves OpenAI in 2018, and 4 years down the lane, they have ChatGPT. Now, Musk is on a full-blown fight with OpenAI, asking them to credit him also for the development of ChatGPT. I don't think that's happening though. So what is ChatGPT? I'm sure all of you order your food from Swiggy, Zomato, at least occasionally. So what happens if Swiggy delivers the wrong order to you? What would you do? Veg meals order பண்றேன், non-veg meals கொண்டு வந்து கொடுத்துட்டான், என்ன பண்ணுவோம்? இறங்கி சண்டை போடுவோம். யார்கிட்ட? Not with the delivery guy, not with the restaurant, but with the customer careல இருக்கிறது basically person கிடையாது, ஒரு chatbot. So Swiggy is a chatbot, right? And the customer careங்கிறதே chatbot தான். What is ChatGPT? That is a chatbot. Swiggy chatbotக்கு நம்ம யாருமே இவ்வளோ எக்ஸைட் ஆகல. But why are we so excited for this chatbot? Because Swiggy chatbot is very, very limited. It can only deal with limited number of interactions and in a very limited area. But this chatbot called ChatGPT can talk to you about anything. You can ask which restaurant to order the best chicken from. You can ask the recipe for one of your oldest dishes. You can dig out recipes for ancient dishes. You can ask about the history. You can ask about Tipu Sultan. It will give you all the answers. This versatility, intelligence, and human-like conversations is what makes ChatGPT so popular. And also because ChatGPT stands on the shoulders of giants like Google, it was multilingual, which means you cannot only use ChatGPT in English, you can also use it in other languages. When it started out, it already had 5-6 different Indian languages. Therefore, ChatGPT was able to reach populations which were not English speaking. And we have had Google for decades now. Google naladana irundhathu. You ask a question, it will give you an answer. So why are we suddenly changing our loyalties from Google to ChatGPT? Because we are lazy people. Google ta poi kelvi ketta, it will give you the resources. Inda pidichuko poi padichu therinjukonu sollirum. But if you ask the same question to ChatGPT, it's like our dear mothers pampering us, spoiling us, spoon feeding us. It will give you the answer in a ready-made format, in a tone and voice that you want. So we all fell in love with ChatGPT, even if it is giving us all the possible wrong answers with all the possible wrong citations. We still love it because mother spoon feeding. Let's remember that. Okay. So with the advent of ChatGPT, there came up a completely new job profile called prompt engineers. So who are these engineers? They are not engineers like yourself, but rather prompt engineers are basically people who have figured out how to ask the right things to ChatGPT. இப்போ Google எடுத்துக்கிட்டீங்கன்னு சொன்னா, say I go give 20 words to Google. It will be confused. It will either give me all wrong results or it will tell me there are no results for this combination. Similarly, if you don't instruct ChatGPT correctly, you will not get the correct answers. These instructions that you give to ChatGPT are known as prompts, and people who have learned how to do it correctly are called prompt engineers. So bottom line, if you want to use ChatGPT or any generative AI tool similar to ChatGPT, the place to start is to understand how to give the right prompts. And 2 days back or so, OpenAI released a flowchart on how to make good prompts. So what kind of prompt, how should you make it, what are the background information you should give nu solli or step by step very easy to flowchart was released by OpenAI. You should check that out. And who's this guy? Sam Altman, the founder, one of the founding members of ChatGPT. ChatGPT was already amazing. We were all blown over. And this year, to mark the first anniversary of ChatGPT, they had something called Dev Day. And the Dev Day, they introduced something known as custom GPTs. So custom GPTs are basically GPTs, ChatGPTs, you build for yourself. Say for instance, you are someone who's interested in cooking. You want to create unique dishes. You want to kind of, have a place where you can aggregate all the knowledge pertaining to your traditional cooking. Then you can build your own ChatGPT that will talk exclusively about cooking. It will be an expert in cooking. If you want to be a writer, have a GPT that is built exclusively for writers. In the madri, ChatGPT gave you the option, gave you the skeleton from which you can build your own custom GPTs. Not just that, ChatGPT also announced something called the App Store for GPTs, where you don't have to build, but somebody has already built it and put it on the App Store, just like you use it on your Android phones or on your Apple Store. Go there to the store, to the App Store, and pick out the ChatGPT you want to use. Problem solved. So what are these Gen AI models at their core? They are basically large language models, which means that they learn from existing information. So all these decades, we have put so much of information onto the interwebs. These tools, they learn from the information, they process it, and then they present answers based on whatever you are asking them. The problem here is, where are these tools learning from? From us humans. And who are we? Highly biased creatures. Anything you take, there's a bias. We have biases based on region, based on countries, based on religion, Based on gender, based on age, you name it, we have a bias. The moment someone walks into the room, we have our own judgments. Even before they open their mouths, even before they can actually say something, we start judging people. And over all these years, in all the information that we have created, we have embedded these biases into them, and these Gen AI tools are picking up all those biases and throwing it right back at our faces. For example, how do these pictures look like? So these were pictures created by an AI, possibly mid-journey, and that's all the prompter had to do. What does a typical prisoner look like? You have a picture. What does a drug dealer look like? You have a picture. When you look at these pictures for the first time, it's amazing, right? One sentence, two sentences, you have a completely new image. How amazing can that be? Great. But then look at the pictures closely for the second time. How many of you have met a prisoner who looks like this? I'm sure not many of us have met prisoners, but even if you walk on the streets of the US, I don't think all prisoners will look like this. How many of you have been treated like a nurse who looks like that? I'm sure some of you will not want to come out of the hospital if that happens, but that's a conversation for a different day. Why should a nurse look like this, and why should a cleaner look like that? Who decided that? Who decided the race? Who decided the way people look? It's completely biased, and this is what AI can do, because that's how the information we have provided into the interwebs are. Therefore, before we even go into the process of understanding different AI tools and possibilities, it's important that we acknowledge that AI is complex, it's multi-layered, it's evolving every day, and we do not understand it at all. We don't know all the parts of how it is processing information. We do not know if it is accurate, which means anything that any AI tool gives you must be taken with a pinch of salt. Don't believe everything, don't use it as it is. So, coming to the theme of the day, when we talk about researchers, especially teachers, faculty researchers who are, who have to shoulder both teaching and doing research, a majority of their time gets spent in writing or doing something somewhere around writing and creating lesson plans. This is data, a bit old data I would say, but then I'm sure the percentages still remain almost similar. What if we had AI tools that can reduce the efforts spent on this 50% of the process, leaving out the faculty to do more of what they are actually supposed to do, teach, mentor, and take care of the young minds. So that will form the baseline of the entire presentation. So from now on, I have divided the presentation into small units, 10 units where 10 different aspects of scientific writing where AI tools can actually help you. And before you even start writing, there comes a process where you have to read literature, and it is expected that you know almost at least 90-95% of literature that was published before you start your work, and also it is in literature where you can find your research gaps, your research questions, and so on. So this makes understanding and collecting the right literature important. And when we say literature, there are going to be different sources of literature, primary, secondary, and tertiary, but then the focus has to be on primary literature because those are the citable literature. But then, never mind, the tools that I'll be introducing after this can help you find out all the three kinds of literature. And when we say literature, so say for instance you're writing an original research article, you will cite around 50 to 60 different papers in your single paper. And when you think about literature, the moment I say literature, the moment I say references, we tend to think of a list. Okay, reference 1, reference 2, reference 3, reference 4. So similarly, you have 60 different papers to read. In reality, these papers do not constitute a list because they are not independent units, but rather they are a web of interconnected papers, because each paper will be linked to several other papers through the references. So I'm reading one paper, it has 60 references, which means this paper is already related to 60 other papers. I can just look at the references, find out all the 60 papers. I have a major list of my literature already ready. Similarly, I pick out Second paper, another 60 references. Some of them could be overlapping, some of them could be novel. So this process where I use references to find my literature is known as citation mining or snowballing. And this can happen in two directions, one in the backward direction, one in the forward direction. So backward direction will, I have it. Okay. So yeah, in the backward citations, I'll have papers that were referenced by my paper of interest, and in the forward citations, so I say I publish a paper in 2017, and then in 2018, 19, 20 and so on, there will be other papers that will come and cite my papers. They form my forward citations. So it is not sufficient that I look at only backward citations, but I should also be looking at forward citations. So this process of collecting and creating your literature library through citation mining will take anywhere between 1 to 2 months at least, if you want to really do it in a very comprehensive way, right? What if there was an AI tool that can bring down your efforts from 2 months to 2 days? Most of us will jump at the opportunity and start subscribing. And what is more is, what if those tools were free? Don't have to pay a penny. Then I'm sure all of us will want to try that out. And the first tool which can do this for you is called Litmaps. So here all you have to do is basically just upload one paper, or it has a search bar where you can start searching using your keywords. And once you choose one paper, this tool will pull out all the related papers. So for the first round, it will pull out 20 papers. The next round, it will add 20 more, 20 more, 20 more, and so on. So for the first 20, you don't even have to sign up or log in. For the second 20, you have to create an account and log in. You still don't have to pay at this stage. Litmaps does have a pro version, but even without the pro version, you're still good to start collecting your literature. So this is my custom search. Say for instance, for the purpose of this session, let us assume that I'm someone interested in intermittent fasting and liver disease, okay? Because intermittent fasting is one of the most popular diet cultures at the moment, so I have picked that, and liver disease just randomly. So now I want to find papers that are related to these two, intermittent fasting and liver disease, and I choose this particular paper as my seed paper, the one with the leaf at the end here, right? So this one, I choose this as my paper of interest at the right bottom. You see that the tool has already picked out 20 different papers, almost 1-2 decades before this paper was published. So why do I see only publications in one direction? What happened to my forward citations? This paper is pretty new. It was published only in 2023, which means there are no forward citations. But going forward, it will also be able to pick out the forward citations. And also remember, say for instance, now I want to check out what this paper is about. Patterson et al., 2000 something. All I have to do is just click on this circle, and the left panel will open up with the details of this paper. The actual abstract is here, DOI is here, and also this title is actually a hyperlink. I can just click on the title and it will take me to my journal page where I can read the full text if the full text is available. So I see the abstract, I find that, okay, this is a great paper. I can quickly save the paper to my literature library. And if you already have a reference management tool like Zotero or Mendeley in place, 2 clicks, it goes into your Mendeley library or into your Zotero library. And from there, 2 more clicks, it comes into your Word document as the references and as citations. So Litmaps is not the only tool that can do this. There are other tools that can do this as well. A second tool that can help you is called Connected Papers. And then there is a tool called Insightful. And in Insightful, it does create literature maps, but then it also does much more than only create literature maps. As the name suggests, this tool can give you a lot of insights. What kind of insights? So when I want to work in a research area, so say for instance, let's go back to intermittent fasting and liver disease. When I want to work in this area, there are some questions that I'll have. Who are the researchers who work the most in this particular area? Which journal publishes the most number of papers in this area? which grant agency is giving a lot of money for research in intermittent fasting and liver disease, because then I want to submit my grant proposal to this particular agency and nowhere else. So all these metadata related insights can be got from Insightful, apart from finding literature. So literature search with Google Scholar, PubMed or any other search engine has been a task, because you have to carefully design something called the keywords or key strings. If you give too many words, if you give too general words, if you don't use right combinations, you don't get the right results, or sometimes you are drowned with thousands of results that are nowhere relevant to you. You have to skim through all of that. What if this hassle can be removed? What if there was a tool where you don't have to search for keywords, but you can paste chunks, paragraph after paragraph text? The tool will figure out the right keywords from the text. It will do the search for you and it will bring back the relevant literature. That tool is called Sourcely. And this is how Sourcely's input form looks like. So the free version allows you to use around 300 characters, but then if you go for the paid version, it's unlimited. But what you see on the screen is around 300 characters. I would say this is pretty good. So instead of having to figure out words, say I'm reading a paper, I find that this paper is very relevant. I can just copy paste the most important part of the abstract, paste it into Sourcely, and it will pull out the most relevant papers for me. One additional benefit with Sourcely is you can also screen paper with the number of citations. So if you want to find papers which have very high citations, say at least 100 citations, you can use this as a filter. So this is just an additional feature there. So the next few tools that I'm introducing are alternatives to Google Scholar, but then you can also call them as alternatives to ChatGPT. So instead of asking a question to ChatGPT, you can ask the same question to Consensus. Why? Because ChatGPT might not give you accurate answers. In addition, ChatGPT cannot tell you the source of the information accurately always. Yeah, so it will not tell you which papers it referred to, which papers these answers were derived from, but Consensus can tell you that. So say for instance, I ask Consensus, is intermittent fasting good for the liver? It gives me a summary answer, kind of tells me that yes, it is good for the liver. Not just the answer, it also lists out the most relevant papers based on which this tool came up with this answer. And if I ask an yes or no question, it also gives me a data known as consensus meter, where I can see most of the papers have said yes, which means when I'm creating my hypothesis, when I want to develop my research question, then maybe I lean more towards a positive result, but then the result has to be seen for myself still. Yeah. So Semantic Scholar is a tool which is similar to Google Scholar, just that it uses a different interface, and also it uses a different database at its back. So this seems to be much more accurate than Google Scholar. So if Google Scholar gives you 5,000 results, out of which 4,000 are not really relevant, Semantic Scholar sticks to giving you only 1,000 results, which means you have much better chances of finding your relevant papers. So Elicit again is a tool similar to Consensus, but here when you ask the same question, it not only gives you answers, but also it kind of gives you a whole summary. So there was this practice when I started out my PhD in my lab. So every scholar who enters the lab will be given a Excel sheet, Microsoft Excel sheet from your senior. And senior வந்து பயங்கர பத்திரமா ஒரு 1000 பேப்பரை வந்து அதில் பயங்கர காலமாக வந்து பிரித்து வச்சுருந்துருப்பாங்க. And each time a junior scholar enters in, the senior responsibly hands over that Excel sheet to the junior for the research to be carried on, for the literature to be added on. So if I had Elicit back then, we would not have spent so many months in updating the Excel sheet. Instead, we would have just worked with Excel and figured it out in 10 days at least. At the maximum, that's all it would have taken. So I have not given you the entire screenshot, but each column will have critical information like abstract summary, just one line abstract. What is the key result from this paper? What was the intervention? How many participants were there? And if you want to look more closely at just one of the papers, just click on the title and the panel will give you an abstract summary, what was tested, what was the outcome, participants, and also how good the paper was. Is it from a good journal? Were there any critics against the paper? Did someone come and say that this paper is not good enough, the data are not really relevant or robust? Where else is this paper being cited? Because these papers might also be of interest to me because they have cited my paper of interest. So all this information gets columnized. You can also add your own columns so that you can read papers in a much better way. So Iris AI is another tool that can help you figure out literature. It is much more robust. It is not completely free. Very few functionalities are free, but then it allows you for a lot of filtering. So if you have very specific criteria, I want intermittent fasting, I want liver, I only want studies in mice, I only want studies that used this particular statistical test. So if I have such multi-layered filtering requirements for my literature search, then Iris AI is the tool you should be using. Reading literature is difficult because literature is very concise most of the times and is also written for experts, not for everyone. The second reason why it is difficult is English is not our first language. Many of us encountered English for the first time during our college days. We have had colleagues like that. There are people who have difficulties with English, let's say, because it's not our mother tongue, not the first language of choice as well. So what if we had a mentor, supervisor sit with us during our early days to explain every single sentence? So I'm reading a paper, I don't understand 4 sentences. What if someone can explain those sentences in detail to me? So that tool is called Copilot. It's from a company called Skyspace. Skyspace does a lot many other things. You can also use Skyspace for reviewing your literature, like as in collecting literature. You can use it for generating your citations. You can use it for paraphrasing different papers. And also you can use this tool to detect AI content. So say you have an assignment from a student. You want to see if it was written by the student or AI. Then yes, this is an AI detector that you could use. But at this juncture of the talk, let's focus on this functionality called Copilot. So here in Copilot, all you have to do is just upload your paper and then highlight or drag on the part where you don't understand. Just highlight the section. This pop-up will open where you can either summarize this text, you can ask for explanation, or you can ask the tool to find related papers. It will find related papers based on the keywords present only within this section which you have selected. And also it has an interactive platform where it will answer any question. So say you have a question within this paper, you can ask the question, the tool will search for the answers only within this paper. It will not go to Google, it will not go to other resources. It will answer you questions within this paper. So say you want to know what statistical test was used. You want to know how significant the results were. You want to know what a particular mathematical equation means. So say for instance, it not only explains text, it also explains mathematics and tables, which means there's a formula within the paper you don't understand. You want to know what those variables stand for, where they came from. Then you can use this functionality to understand the math tables better. You can ask your own questions in this chat box at the right corner. And reading has become an outdated practice, I would say. We have been more attuned to watching things. We love videos. We love all our Instagram reels and all those, the popular things. We are even okay with audiobooks. We have become a generation where we love hearing things. We love hearing to podcasts, but actually sitting down and reading something, be it on the screen, be it on the paper, it's not something we really love. So what if our papers can be converted into audiobooks? Audiobooks, they are built as audiobooks. That's quite a process. But you cannot each time keep converting your papers into audiobooks. What if there was a tool which can consider any document and start reading it out aloud for you? That tool is called Speechify. So Speechify can read your text from your emails, from your MS Word documents, from your other text documents, and also from a PDF, which means you don't have to do anything. Just upload your PDF or link your PDF to Speechify and it will start reading out for you. Say some of you are commuting from a long distance by car, for instance. You have like 1 hour commute to reach the college every day. You don't have to wait until you reach your desk to read your emails. Just link your emails to Speechify. It will read out all your emails even before you're at your desk. You have a speech, you have a class to prepare for. You want to read out your notes, you're driving. How will you do that? Just turn this Speechify on. You can listen to your class notes and you can be ready for your presentation by the time you reach the college and your desk. Listening.io is another tool that can do exactly what Speechify does. Speechify is more of a general purpose tool, but listening.io was a tool that was built exclusively to read research papers. Therefore, it's much more accurate. Yeah. Then comes a stage where now, so we have used tools to identify literature. We have also had some tools which can help us read or hear to this literature. The next step before you can write your grant or write your research paper is where you have to take down notes. Yeah. So of course you can take down notes on your phones, you can take down notes on your tabs, but that becomes an important part of writing. And these notes will form the base from which your paper can actually develop. They are the building blocks to your paper or grant. And converting a 5,000 word paper into a short note is definitely not an easy job, right? So how can you do this effectively? Is there a tool that can summarize papers for you? That tool you're looking for is called Paper Digest. It basically digests papers so that you can assimilate them easily. The problem with this tool is that for this tool to be able to read a paper, the paper must be available. It has to be open access. Not all papers are open access. Some of them you have to pay to read those papers. In such cases, this tool will also not have access to those papers. So if you're looking at summarizing open access papers, great, this is the tool for you. If not, you will have to get the paper from the author or from other sources and then download this tool, use it offline with your PDF, then it works. But if you want to use it online, you should have open access papers. So this is the interface where you have to enter the DOI of your paper and it gives you the summary in less than 1 minute. So a 5,000 word paper summarized into a content that can be read in under 2 to 3 minutes at the maximum. So one application of this tool is, of course, you can look at it as a paraphrasing tool where you summarize one paper and that goes into your own paper. The second application I would say is where you can quickly read a paper to decide if you actually want to read the entire paper. Not just the abstract, you read the complete summary and then make up your mind if you want to read the paper. So such summarizing can also be by a tool called Scholarcy. Apart from summarizing, it has this option where you can create something known as summary flashcards. So say for instance, you have your own paper, which you want to present somewhere. Yeah? In such cases, you can quickly put your paper through Scholarcy, convert it into flashcards, and download these flashcards as a PPT. So now, in few clicks, you have converted a paper into a PPT which is ready for you to present. Sorry about that. So Ciet is another tool which can, the name is on the left top, which can help you summarize papers. So the first part of note making is where you have to make notes of existing content. And then comes a stage where you should add your own thoughts, your own findings, and create your paper. That is where tools like Fireflies and Notion can help you. These are like your sounding boards. You can keep throwing your ideas at these boards. They'll organize them and they'll kind of, keep it in a way that you can easily figure out what your thoughts were, and you can easily pick out sentences, you can organize it, change it, and prepare the skeleton for your papers. Even with note making, we no longer want to really sit down and write notes. We no longer want to really sit down and type out notes. What if you can just speak your notes, just like you have your own personal secretary? You speak out notes, and this person there sits, picks out the notes, organizes it, keeps it all ready, typed out for you to just maybe take a printout, check or so. So one tool which can do that is called Speak Notes, and the second tool that can do this is called Audio Pen. So the Audio Pen basically does what it claims. So you throw fussy thoughts, fussy speak notes at it. It organizes your thoughts, makes it into a clear, understandable text, and it does it pretty fast. So once you're done writing your manuscripts, somebody has to check if your manuscript has all the necessary sections. A manuscript is not just about the main text. In addition, you have title, you have abstract, you have author information, you have a lot of declarations like author contributions, conflict of interest, data availability, and with the advent of AI, you also have to include an statement on the use of AI. So there are so many things, and then there are references, there are citations. All of these have to be accurate, arranged properly, so that your paper gets into the review process. If not, there's a very high chance that it's rejected right at the first step or the editor's desk. That's what we call as desk rejection. So there is one tool that can help you check all these sections in your paper. It's called the PaperPal Manuscript Checker. So this manuscript checker checks your draft manuscript for around 30 plus different aspects on your paper. It checks if your references are correct, if your figures and tables are there, if they are cited properly, checks for the structure of your paper, checks for the language of your paper, checks if you have added too many old references, because that's not acceptable. Your references must be pretty recent. It also checks for that. It checks for the word counts, it checks for the different statements, which means it checks from head to toe of your manuscript to ensure that you have indeed added all the informations accurately. In addition, PaperPal is also a language checker, grammar checker, similar to your Grammarly. But the difference here is that Grammarly was not built for scientific writing. Grammarly is a general purpose tool, but PaperPal was trained on scientific documents, which means it can give you much more accurate suggestions to improve your manuscript. So next comes the question of creating graphics. When we talk about figures, there are two kinds of figures. One is what you create from data, say using something as simple as Excel. You have a data, you convert it into graphs, you convert it into some form of charts. And then the second type of figures that you'll need in your manuscripts are those that you create from an idea. Say for instance, the graphical abstract of a paper. And each time you submit a manuscript to a journal, most of the times, they give you an option where you can also submit a cover image. That image will go on the cover of the journal, and being on the cover of a journal is considered pretty prestigious, and you can only reach there if your graphics are good enough. So it is for these non-data based graphics, there are a lot of AI tools. And the first tool to check out is Midjourney. And Midjourney used to have, it used to be free, but it is no longer free. But then there are so many other alternative choices Journey which you can check. DAL E3, E2 is here, but now we have DAL E3. And Bing is again a very nice creator. Crayon is a very nice tool to check out for these options at no cost. So how does this image look like? Okay. If I spent hardly 1 minute on this image, then it looks awesome, right? So if you can create something like this in under a minute, good. If you're willing to spend a few more extra minutes, then you can get a much better image. So all I had to do to actually get this is just these few lines on a tool we all already know called Canva. So Canva has been around for 10 years now. It recently celebrated its 10th anniversary. But Magic Studio is pretty new. It's hardly 2 months, and that can be a great place where you can start playing around. The next few are not per se AI tools, but they are great places where you can create images. The first is called Mind the Graph. So these are tools which convert words into images. So all I had to do was just describe an idea, and within 1 minute, this image was created. Yeah, it converts words into images, and Canva also has an option where words can be converted into video. So if you describe a video, it will create a video for you from scratch. You don't have to give anything. You just have to describe a video, and you will have a video. Yeah. So similarly here, Mind the Graph is a template-based image creator, which means if I say mouse, it will have a picture of a mouse. If I say a computer, it will give me a picture of computer, not just one pictures. It will show me a set of pictures. And then I can pick out the images I want, overlay them, rearrange them, and create my own images. And you can have the copyright for these images when using this tool. Inkscape is a tool where it uses vector images. So vector images are much more useful than pixelated images. So the images which we click on our phones are based on pixels. So pixels are basically dots, small dots with different colors, different intensities. And when you mix and match these dots, you have a beautiful image. The problem is that with pixelated images, you cannot expand them. If you try to expand them after a point, it starts breaking. So this will find an application, especially when you're trying to create your posters. For, say you're going for a conference, you want to create a poster. If your original image was created on a pixel-based tool, you cannot blow it up for your posters. For your posters, you will have to expand them multiple times, and the picture will start breaking. This is where using vector-based tools like Inkscape will really help you. I'm not going into the details, but I just want to give you a set of tools that you can try. And say you want to use flowcharts. You don't have to create box after box, arrow mark after arrow mark with MS PowerPoint. Instead, you can actually have good templates. So the empty flowcharts are already there in different combinations, different shapes, different colors. You just have to add your text within these template images, and your flowcharts are ready. Your mind maps are ready within a few minutes. So this tool is called eDrawMax. And eDrawMax. So if you are, I'm sure none of you are from the biological backgrounds. If so, BioRender is a tool to try out. And this is an AI tool, an AI integrated tool that can do a lot of things. It can help you with making presentations, making visualizations, making videos. It's called Visme. I hear that it does amazing things, though I have not tried that out for myself. And the first ever image tool we all heard of was Photoshop. So Adobe is the uncontested leader when it comes to images, and that is the reason why Illustrator is one of the best tools to create images, only that they are pretty costly, prohibitively costly. But if you can afford them as an institution, there is nothing like Illustrator too. And of course, there's a learning curve. It's not like you can open the Illustrator and it is definitely not PowerPoint, where you can drag structures, put them together. You have to spend some time understanding the tool, but definitely worth it. And I'm sure there are several coders among you. If you can code to create images, then GIMP is your place to be. And then comes the question of managing references, because adding references, adding citations, rearranging references is a whole task in itself. And we already have a lot of normal tools, non-AI managers that can help you. And among these several ones, Mendeley and Zotero are my personal favorites. These two are actually free. Before you even start writing your paper, it is important that you figure out one of these reference management tools. So once you have a reference manager in place, everything else becomes easier. If not, you will spend days wasting your time trying to convert references from one style to the other, moving full stops, moving commas, definitely not an easy job. So first install and understand a reference management tool before you actually write a paper. And if I have to suggest a tool, I'll say go for Mendeley or go for Zotero. Both of them have a very extensive database. They are also completely free to use. There is also an AI tool you can use. So say you are already in the middle of writing your paper, you cannot go back and start from scratch. In such case, you can use this tool called Tricks. So what does Tricks do? Tricks basically takes this is an online tool. You can input your reference list into this tool. It will convert it from one style to the other within minutes, within seconds sometimes even. So language is always a problem when it comes to scientific writing. There are journals that reject your paper because your language is not good. It's not always common, because several of the good journals even never reject papers because your language is not good. As long as your science is good, then your paper is accepted, and then later on during the review stages, you'll be asked to edit your manuscript to improve the language. But even when you have the best science, if you cannot communicate it in a good language, then there's no point. It's very difficult to drive the impact of your work to your readers. So that is why having tools that can help you with language becomes important. One other place where these tools are important is when you're trying to paraphrase work. So in science, when you're writing papers, not all the information are yours. You'll also be talking about information that was discovered by someone else. But when you're talking about such information, you cannot copy paste content from anywhere else. You will have to paraphrase and write it in your own words. With the advent of plagiarism checking tools like Turnitin and Authenticate, what has happened is people don't actually rephrase, but instead they just rearrange the sentences, rearrange words to make it look like it's new content, but in reality it is not. Doing this is known as patch writing, when you just rearrange and reword things. This is also equivalent to plagiarism. So patch writing is plagiarism. Original or the actual paraphrasing is when you read a text, you understand its core, and then you present the idea. The idea is not yours, but the words have to be yours. This is where such paraphrasing tools can help you. So the first tool you can use for paraphrasing your text is called Quillbot. Quillbot has been around for several years, and also it is one of the most popular tools downloaded and used so many times. It's very close to ChatGPT on the number of users it actually has. So the second simple tool you can use is called WordTune. One good application of this tool is that you can quickly convert formal sentence into informal sentence and an informal sentence into a formal sentence. So why exactly will you need these conversions? Say for instance, you're writing a paper, you want the content to be very formal, right? But say you want to convert the same paper into your presentation. Do you want to convert it into your class notes? You want to convert it into a summary. In those cases, you don't want those formal, hard English. You want it to be in a much more relatable, understandable English. That is where WordTune can help you. So the next tool that can paraphrase and check your grammar, check your language, your structure, do pretty much everything around language is called Trinka. Trinka has very few features that are free, but it's a great tool to check out. It's basically like Quillbot is on steroids, because Quillbot is a bit older tool, which means the interface is also a bit old. It was almost never updated in the past several years, but Trinka is a pretty new and advanced tool which helps you quickly learn how to use it. And one other good thing about Trinka is that it has these small videos within the page. So they teach you how to use the different features they have. You can quickly watch these videos, learn how to use it, and start using the tool in no time. So the next tool which can sit within your MS Word, Quillbot also has a MS plugin. Trinka also has a plugin, but then Writeful, it works exclusively as a plugin. So just like how you have Grammarly installed into your MS Word, you can also install Writeful. So apart from checking your grammar, apart from checking your language, Writeful can also help you generate abstracts and titles. Say you have written a paper and now you want to have ideas on how to create a title. You want to have around 10 different ideas and then you want to work on that to finalize on your title. So those draft titles can actually be generated using this tool called Writeful. WRITEFULL. Yeah. And PaperPal can also do that. So PaperPal is also a tool which can do pretty much everything that Trinka and Writeful can do. And now with the advent of so many tools, there have developed these big colossal tools called research managers. So research managers are basically one app which has all the other tools. There will be a tool for literature, there will be a tool for creating images, one tool for statistics, one tool for reference management. All these are put into one single place called the reference manager, and Cactus has one of the best reference managers in the field. Our research manager is called researcher.life. This will sit as an app on your phone. You can give it your keywords for research. So say for instance, going back to intermittent fasting and liver, I can add keywords like intermittent fasting, diet, nutrition, liver, and anytime any paper is published on any of these keywords, give me an alert. Okay, here you have a paper on liver disease management. To read it, I can the paper within the tool and also add the tool to my literature library right within the app. I can start paraphrasing it there. I can create my draft manuscript there. I can create my images there. Everything gets done within this one particular tool. Then comes this question of making presentations, be it for your class, be it for presenting grant applications, be it for presenting your papers and conferences. PPT has done an amazing job all these years, but let us all agree it's a bit old. We are also a bit bored after looking at PPT. So that's why there are some other tools that can help you make much more interactive presentations. One of the tools to check out is Prezi. If you have seen presentations where there is a slide, if I go to one particular part of the slide, that will zoom out as slide 2. A second image will slide 3. Next as slide 4 and so on. So these interactive templates are present and ready on Prezi. All you have to do is just go input your images, input your text, and it's ready. You don't have to work on animations. You don't have to worry about timing your animations and so on. So Canva, I'm sure most of you are already using it for your flyers, resumes, whatnot. Canva is definitely magic, and Canva gives you amazing templates to do your presentations. And then comes a truly powerful AI tool for making presentations called Dectopus. So unlike Canva, unlike Prezi, unlike PowerPoint, where you should give the content, here all you have to do is just give the title. Give the title, tell the tool who your audience are, how long you want the presentation for, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Do you want it to be very formal? Do you want the presentation to be simple? Want it to be creative? Just give these inputs. Within a few minutes, it will give you the entire presentation. Of course, you will have to work on it a bit in your own style, but say you're in a hurry, you just want a set of slides to help you with your talk. Few minutes, your slides are ready, download it, go present it. Pictures are there, text is there, the complete flow. You hardly do anything here except for the talking part. So then there are Gen AI tools, the chat GPTs of the academic world, which will write entire. How will they write entire papers? You give a keyword, it will create an outline of your paper. You write the first line of the paragraph. It's like a genie. It will come in and write the next 4 lines of the paragraph. You go to the next paragraph, write 1 line, it will write the next 4, 5 lines. It will keep completing your thoughts paragraph after paragraph, and I guess you can write review papers in half an hour, but please don't do that. That is not the purpose of these tools. That's not ethical to do, but I'm just trying to put that across to tell you how amazing these tools are. And the first tool that can do this is called Jenny.ai. And remember, these tools have a word limit, so they'll hardly write 400 words in a day when you use the free version. When you go for the pro version, they do much more than that. And PaperPal recently introduced its own Gen AI tool, which is also known as Copilot. SkySpace Copilot is different from PaperPal Copilot. SkySpace Copilot is for you to read papers, whereas PaperPal Copilot is for you to be your co-writer and write your papers and grants. So then comes the question of writing grants. So next tools I'm introducing is in the US and Europe context, because that's where these tools were built for, but still you can still give it a go. So the first tool is called HyperWrite. The second is called Grant Boost. And the third one is called Grantable. So what do these tools do? How are they different from the Gen AI tools? You want me to repeat the names? HyperWrite, then Grant Boost, Horlicks Boost, adhe Boost. Aduthu Grantable, likeable mari Grantable. Okay. So how are these tools different from the other writing tools is that they also help you figure out your response. They validate if questions are really novel and if it has not been done else. Also kind of suggest which agencies you should apply for grant. Inge da sonna, not very much in the Indian context. Suggestions for grant agencies normally work more on the lines of the US and European context, but still you can still try it out for the writing part to validate your grant idea, to validate how you have presented your grants and so on. So this is the bonus tool. So in this era, it is not sufficient that you are great teachers, you are great researchers, great faculty, and doing science, but then you should also be people who can communicate your science. So perfecting your communication, practicing on your presentation is very important. And not all of us want to bring in a second human, talk to them, get their criticism. We're not always open to it. But we are open to it if it is going to be a machine that can do it. So that is why tools like Udly can be really of help. So this is basically where you schedule a video call. The AI sits there. It assesses the way you speak, your body language, the way you modulate, the way you use words. Maybe you're too repetitive with certain words. You're too slow, you're too fast. So all these things get moderated, they get assessed, and you get real-time suggestions and tips and tricks to actually improve it. Then comes the most important question. Okay, you have talked about so many AI tools. Can we actually use it? Is it ethical to use these AI tools? The answer is yes and no. The answer is yes. If you want to look at these AI tools as your assistants, as your helpers, and you still hold the reins to your research. The answer is no. If you want to replace yourself with these tools, you cannot outsource writing your papers. You cannot outsource writing your grants to a tool. So it's basically a matter of perspective. Use them as your assistants and everybody is okay with it. Institutions are still coming up with rules and regulations pertaining to the use of AI tools. There are several institutions who have actually blocked ChatGPT on all their computers, I understand, and it's understandably so, because it could really corrupt the way education is being given off to the students and in the way students study and present assignments and so on, but that's a question for another day. Sticking to the theme for today, what do journals have to say about this? Are journals okay with using AI tools? Journals were given a hard shock when ChatGPT came into existence last year. Some authors thought it was a wise decision to use ChatGPT to write a part of their papers and list ChatGPT as one of the authors. Okay? And they submitted the paper not to any journal, direct to Nature. The Nature editorial board was like, okay, give us a break. That's when they really sat up and, okay, we need to have some rules for this. And they came up with rules where it's okay if you use generative AI tools, but you should declare their use and you should only use them as assistants. And also if you look at the statement here, you have to name the tool, you have to tell them for what reason you use the tool, and you should also assure them that after AI gave you something, the authors reviewed the information and the authors take full responsibility for the content of the publication. So if ChatGPT gives a false information, you go ahead and put it in your papers. You cannot show your hands at ChatGPT. Avanna sonna naalla and kadala nadakadu. Yaar author? Needana author. So whoever is the author, you take 100% responsibility. So this is the stand of journals at the moment. So in the statement, this is from Elsevier, but I'm sure the other publishers also have very similar statements. So the next question, most important for this room, will teachers be replaced by AI? Very much possible. So recently, Harvard introduced an AI professor for one of its computer science courses. AI professor nu sonna robot kadiyadu. It's again a chatbot. It's just an app that will be there on the students' phones or any of their devices, which can answer any questions within the particular course. And that has opened the floodgates to, recruiting more AI for teaching. So teachers, say you have students who want to be teachers in the next generation, there will be teachers. But then teachers will not only be sources of disseminating knowledge, but they have to bring in much more to the table. And you as faculty should definitely up your game. Because there are so many components that only humans can bring to the table. Empathy, AI cannot do it. Fostering a team culture, AI cannot do it. AI will not understand the sentiment in the class on a particular day and it will not cancel the class. It will not shorten the class. Definitely not go down well with the students. You all know that much better than me. So, time for teachers to upgrade as well, I would say. Will humans be replaced by AI? Very possible, not by machines, but what are known as humanoids. Humanoids are basically a hybrid machine and human. That could possibly be the next evolutionary step. Neanderthalsலேருந்து நம்ம இப்போ அடுத்து humanoid தான் வரப்போகுது அப்படிங்கிறதுக்கான possibility ரொம்ப பிரகாசமாக இருக்குன்னு தான் நான் சொல்லுவேன். And the entire world is split on this question of AI. Do we need AI? Do we not need AI? Influencers எடுத்துக்கிட்டீங்க, all these big shots, half stand on one side, the half are on the other side. And as always, most important and most interesting person to note is Elon Musk, of course. So he is dead against AI. You can find so many such quotes against AI. Then he'll go and find a company called Neuralink. So what is Neuralink? Neuralink is a company which has approval for human clinical trials to embed small chips into human brains so that you don't have to no longer touch your phones or devices to use it. You think your device will do it. You just think, okay, get me a selfie now. The phone will sit there taking out a selfie for you. Play music, you just have to think of the song and the song will start playing. So considering that Musk is in the mix, I'm pretty sure the day when humans will be replaced by humanoids is not far behind. So I would like to leave you all with this thought here. AI per se is a technology. So when calculators were invented for the first time, nobody was thrilled. When fire was discovered for the first time, I'm pretty sure nobody was thrilled because it was burning everything around, and there are so many Greek and fairy tales around fire and how it was brought to humans. So similarly, AI is the next big thing. How we use it will determine the future of humans. So yes, exciting times, but also please be cautionary and be ethical, most of all. So the QR code leads to my bank account. If you scan it, it will drain your bank account into my bank account. I wish that happens, but it will not happen. It will only take you to my LinkedIn page. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn, and I think all of you should be, because LinkedIn is the social media to be for any professional. You don't just find jobs, you can find collaborators, you can find your next project students, research students. There are so many interesting possibilities and conversations happening there. So I write almost every day on scientific writing and publishing. I write about AI tools. So that is where you can find all my articles. You can also reach me on WhatsApp on the same number. I'm not good with calls, but I always reply to my WhatsApp messages. If you're looking for help with your manuscripts or grant applications, you can write to our team at this mail ID. You don't even have to wait for me. Someone from the team will take it up. So thank you for the attention. I know it was a lot, but I just wanted to give you everything so that you had the tools in place, and then you can slowly explore each one of those tools and see what fits you, what works for you. Yeah. So thank you. I'll be very happy to take questions. Almost all of them are free, sir. 95% of those tools are free. At least the basic features are free. So I have curated tools that are free. Even Adobe Illustrator is free for 7 days or so. Only after that you will have to pay. Dectopus, for the first 3 or 4 times it is free. It's pretty simple, sir. I would say there's not a huge learning curve. It will take you maybe 1 hour or so to figure out how to start using it. Then it is difficult. Yes. So you should know what to expect on an article. So the basics of writing and publishing is something you will have to learn. But once you have that in place, using these tools is pretty easier because you will know what to use where. So we have a 10-day workshop coming up in January. I did not share the brochure. Maybe I'll share it with Sauri Rajan sir. You can check that out. So we have a program from Jan 2nd to Jan 12th. It will be a 10-day program exclusively on writing manuscripts using AI tools. So we'll be talking about the basics of manuscript writing, basics of submission, handling reviewer comments, everything around submission and publication. But we'll also be introducing AI tools, hands-on training for each of those aspects. I can try, but the thing is they'll need sign-in, sir, and I don't have my laptop. So on my laptop, I have all those tools signed in. So if it is there, I think I can show you lit maps maybe. Can you use that computer?
It's a smart one, ma'am. You can use it here itself, ma'am. இது யூஸ் பண்ணிக்கலாம் ma'am.
இதில் ஏதோ ஒரு மெயில் அக்கௌண்ட் ஏதாவது லாகின் ஆயிருக்கோங்களா கூகுளில்? கூகுள் லாகின் இருந்ததுன்னு சொன்னால் அப்படியே அதே லாகினை வந்து நம்ம
Sure, ma'am.
பேப்பர் பால், அப்புறம் ட்ரிங்கா, குவில்பாட். ஸோ பேப்பர் பால் pretty much has almost everything, and most of its features are actually free. கோபைலட்லேயுமே இப்போ வரைக்கும் ஃப்ரீயாக தான் வச்சுருக்காங்க. பட் கோபைலட் we are on the beta testing. ஸோ ஒன்ஸ் பீட்டா டெஸ்டிங் முடிஞ்சதுக்கப்புறம் இந்த எல்லா ஃபீச்சர்ஸுமே ஃப்ரீயாக இருக்குமான்னு சொல்ல முடியாது. அண்ட் ஃபார் தி ப்ரோ வெர்ஷன் திஸ் மந்த் தெர் இஸ் அ டிஸ்கவுண்ட் கோயிங் ஆன். ஸோ 40% டிஸ்கவுண்ட்டில் போயிட்டுருக்கு உங்களோட ப்ரோ வெர்ஷன். ஸோ ஐ ஹவ் நாட் செக் தி ப்ரைஸ் ஃபார் இந்தியா அட் த மோமெண்ட். ஓகே, ஐ ஹோப் திஸ் ஒர்க்ஸ். So most of these tools, they'll ask you to log in. They are free, but they'll ask you for a login. இப்போ உங்களோட ஓன் சிஸ்டம்ஸ் இருந்ததுன்னு சொன்னால் கூகுள் ஜிமெயில் லாகின் இருக்கும். யூ கேன் ஜஸ்ட் குவிக்லி யூஸ் தி சேம் லாகின் டு கெட் இன் டு தீஸ் டூல்ஸ். தனியாக அக்கௌண்ட் க்ரியேட் பண்ணணும்னு இல்லை. ஸோ ஒன் ஆஃப் யூ, வாட் இஸ் யுவர் ஃபேவரட் கீவேர்ட் யூ வாண்ட் டு செக் அவுட்? இல்லை உங்கள் ரிசர்ச் வேர்ட் சம்திங். ஸோ இப்படி கீவேர்ட் கொடுத்தீங்கன்னு சொன்னால் இட் வில் புல் அப் சம் பேப்பர்ஸ் யூ வாண்ட் டு செக் அவுட். ஸோ ஒரு ஃபியூ சஜஷன்ஸ் கொடுக்கும். இஃப் நாட் யூ கேன் ஆக்சுவலி யூஸ் யோர் ஓன் பேப்பர். ஸோ ஒன்ஸ் லாகின் பண்ணிங்கன்னு சொன்னால் யூ கேன் புல் அவுட் யோர் ஓன் பேப்பர்ஸ் அண்ட் தென் யூஸ் இட். ஸோ ஜஸ்ட் ஃபார் தி சேக் ஆஃப் தி டெமோ, லெட்ஸ் சே ஐ எம் இன்ட்ரெஸ்டட் இன் கொஞ்சம் பழைய பேப்பராக தேடுவோம். 2016. So you already have the 20 most relevant papers to this particular article. And இப்போ இதில் say I want to find this 2023 paper, I just have to click on it. And it opens up the particular paper. Abstract பார்த்தாலே நமக்கு தெரியும் இந்த பேப்பர் வந்து okay, is it relevant, should I read more? And if you want to read more, just click on the title. You have the journal page. And at this point, if you have Mendeley or Zotero, இந்த இடத்துல உங்களோட அந்த plugin options இருக்கணும். So what is this? Chrome தான் இல்லைங்களா? So Chromeல okay, you don't have any add-ons. இருந்ததுன்னு சொன்னால் இந்த இடத்துல you will find that there's an icon for add-ons. அந்த puzzle piece மாதிரி ஒரு icon இருக்கும். If you click on that, அந்த இடத்துல தான் உங்களோட Mendeley Zotero இருக்கும். You can just ஒரு 2 கிளிக்கில் இதை கொண்டு போய் அங்கே ஃபோல்டர்ஸ் போட்டுக்கலாம். நீங்கள் எப்படி உங்கள் கம்ப்யூட்டரில் வந்து ஃபோல்டர்ஸ் டிஃப்ரெண்ட் ஃபோல்டர்ஸ் வச்சுருக்கீங்களோ அந்த மாதிரி யூ கேன் ஹேவ் ஃபோல்டர்ஸ் வித்தின் Zotero அண்ட் Mendeley. அண்ட் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கிளிக் எந்த டூல், செகண்ட் கிளிக் எந்த ஃபோல்டர், இந்த பேப்பர் அப்படியே போய் அங்கே சேவ் ஆயிரும். நீங்கள் தனியாக சேவ் பண்ணணுங்கிற அவசியம் இல்லை. ஆல்சோ லைக் Mendeley and Zotero, you can have it on the cloud. They are not just physical locations. நீங்கள் எந்த சிஸ்டம்லேருந்து வேணாலும் ஆக்சஸ் பண்ணிக்கலாம். ஸோ சே ஃபார் இன்ஸ்டன்ஸ் யூ ஆர் ரீடிங் லிட்ரேச்சர் அட் யுவர் டெஸ்க் அண்ட் தென் யூ வாண்ட் டு ஒர்க் ஆன் யுவர் பேப்பர் அட் ஹோம். இங்கிருந்து டெஸ்க்டாப் எடுத்துகிட்டு போக முடியாது, ஒவ்வொரு நாளும் வீட்டிலேருந்து லேப்டாப்பை கொண்டு வர முடியாது. ஸோ யூ கேன் add all your literature to the cloud in Zotero or Mendeley. இங்கேயும் ஆக்சஸ் பண்ணிக்கலாம், அங்கேயும் ஆக்சஸ் பண்ணிக்கலாம். எங்கே வேணாலும் யூ கேன் ஜஸ்ட் யூஸ் யுவர் credentials to log in and you will have access to the literature. So this is Litmaps. Paperpal, let me try. Paperpal வந்து லாகின் இருக்கணும். If not, I'll show Jenny. That is not possible. Okay. இதில் லாகின் பண்ணலாங்க, இல்லை சைன் அவுட்டாக இருக்குது. See, I just have to add new blocks. So, a mouse கொஞ்சம் இங்கே டிஃபிகல்ட்டாக இருக்குது. Say, for instance, I just add a new block. It will start generating content and I can accept. Say, for instance, இப்போ இது கூட வந்து நான் ஏதாவது அடிஷ்னலாக எழுதணும் அப்படின்னு சொன்னால் I can just prompt it. See, ஒரு half of the sentence நான் எழுதுனேன், second half வந்து it is filling in already. Okay, where is the pop-up? So net மட்டும் கொஞ்சம் ஃபாஸ்ட்டாக இருக்கணும். Have accepted. Then I can start writing the next one and so on, and it will keep filling. அவ்வளோதான். நீங்கள் அடுத்த லைனுக்கு கர்சரை மூவ் பண்ண it will keep asking you, and then you can also make minor change. Okay, இந்த கஸ்டமைஸ்குள்ளே you will be able to make changes, change the tone. So say for instance, what are you trying to write? Introduction அப்படின்னா அதுக்கு ஒரு டோன் இருக்குது, அதுக்கு ஒரு ஃபார்மேட் இருக்குது. கன்க்ளூஷன் பண்ணிட்டுருக்கீங்களா, ஆர் இந்த ஆர்குமெண்ட் உங்களுக்கு பிடிக்கல, you have to write the opposing argument, you can choose that. I'll try and show this on paper, Paul. So paper pal வந்து work பண்ணோம் அப்படின்னா it is better that you have a demo document. This is the manuscript checker. So once your draft manuscript is ready, you can just put this through submission readiness. Let me try this. Okay. Right. So this is the test document from PaperPal. So this is what the interface looks like. இப்போ உங்களோட if you have your own text, you can just copy paste it into this document. இல்லைனா you can just upload the Word document and it will start showing you corrections. Grammarly மாதிரியே தான், but only that these changes and suggestions will be much more accurate than Grammarly. It will be much more relevant to the style and scientific writing, and also you'll have the option to rephrase. So எங்கெல்லாம் வந்து ப்ராப்ளம் இருக்குது அப்படின்னு சொன்னால் you can quickly ask for a rephrase, and original sentence விட உங்களுக்கு இந்த rephrasing பிடிச்சிருந்ததுன்னு சொன்னால் you can just accept it, and the changes get incorporated directly into your so in the document is uploaded by you, sir. So if it is uploaded by you, does not plagiarize, only paraphrases it. One catch is that ரொம்ப templatized sentences use பண்ணா there will be a chance of very slight plagiarism, only with the connecting words அந்த மாதிரியான இடத்துல மட்டும்தான். Let me see if I can show you a bit of Dectopus. Okay, I don't remember if we need to log in or not. So let us try. ஸோ இன்னைக்கு டாக்கோட டைட்டிலே வந்து டைட்டிலாக கொடுப்போம். ஓகே, இப்போ நம்ம டைப் பண்ணது வேஸ்ட்டு, திரும்ப டைப் பண்ணோன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். So I'm an education person. No, I want to, okay. So என்னோட டைட்டில் அது அக்செப்ட் பண்ணிடுச்சு. நெக்ஸ்ட் இட் வாண்ட்ஸ் டு நோ ஹூ மை ஆடியன்ஸ் ஆர். ஸோ okay, researchers and scientists in various fields looks okay. Yeah, this looks like my purpose. If not, உங்களுக்கு வேற வேணும்னு சொன்னா you can actually give your custom made thing. Say for instance I want to, I am a minimalistic person, so let me go for the minimal version. Okay, great. But if there is not this paywall blocking us there, then you'll have the slides. Next ஒரு 1 minute ஒரு 40 minutesக்கு நீங்கள் கவர் பண்ணுறதுக்கு எவ்வளோ slides வேணுமோ you will have the slides with the content and everything. Yeah. So any other questions? PPTஸ்க்கு Prezi is free, Canva is free. Canva is majorly free. And now because Canva has that magic studio, நீங்கள் அதுக்குள்ளேயே வந்து இப்போ say you want to present an idea, you want to create your own image, மேஜிக்குள்ளே நீங்களே image create பண்ணிக்கலாம். Create your own image within the slide, add it to the slide, and if you want to generate content, அதுக்கும் Canvaல ஆப்ஷன் இருக்குது இப்போ because it has the Gen AI. ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி fully ready-made வராது. But every single slide வந்து as you give instructions, Canva will create individual slides and then you can just put it all together as your presentation. Paperpal kind of does that. Paperpal இருக்கு, Quillbotல இருக்கு. Quillbotல you can tell Quillbot how much you want to paraphrase. Say I give it around 200 words. எவ்வளோ paraphrasing வேணும் எனக்கு? Just வெறும் trim out பண்ணா மட்டும் போதுமா? இல்லை ரொம்ப எக்ஸ்டென்சிவாக paraphrase பண்ணி அதை ஒரு 100 wordsக்கு கீழே கொண்டு வரணுமா? So all these changes you can make. And you can choose between American English, British English, which means that job is also done. You don't have to sit within your MS Word to make those final corrections. Copilot, sir. Skyspace Copilot will explain mathematical equations for you. Okay, this is always a tricky question, sir, because I would say stick to Turnitin and authenticate. அதை விட்டுட்டு வெளியில் பண்ண வேண்டாம் அப்படிங்கிறது என்னோட சஜஷனாக இருக்கும். பட் தீஸ் டூல்ஸ் ஆர் அவைலபிள் ஃபார் அ பெட்டர் ப்ரைஸ் வித்தின் ட்ரிங்கா. இப்போ ட்ரிங்காவோட அவங்களோட ப்ரோ வெர்ஷன் எடுத்தீங்கன்னு சொன்னால் அதுக்குள்ளே they give you the option to check around 5 documents or so in a month. That will be at a better price than buying Turnitin or Authenticate. Plagiarism checkers வந்து இப்போ ஃப்ரீ செக்கர்ஸ் அப்படின்லாம் ஆன்லைனில் பார்க்குறது வந்து இட்ஸ் நாட் ரியலி வெரி சேஃப், பிகாஸ் there have been instances where Turnitin was sold for a lesser amount. And the pirated version mari Turnitin sell பண்ணிருந்தாங்க நம்ம institutionsக்கு. There have been instances where papers have been completely picked off and published elsewhere. So when it comes to uploading entire papers, எங்கே இருந்தாலும் இப்போ paper pal is a very trusted name. That's why they have their price. Turnitin, Authenticate, they are trusted names. Trinka is a very trusted company. So இந்த மாதிரியான இடத்துல, if you're using it for just small chunks of paragraphs, you can try out different tools. But when you want to upload your entire manuscript for any purpose, I would say stick to very, very reliable tools. Illana, you will lose out years of work. Okay, I have not really worked on that, sir, but definitely there must be tools that can do it, because that's the most easiest. Coding, mathematical models are where computers started being used. So I'm sure there will be models, but just that I'm not aware of them. Origin kuda work pandra madri, not that I'm aware of, ma'am. Because Origin, the SPSS la vandu, they are complete standalone tools in themselves already. So avanga ulla edavadhu introduce pannada undu. You cannot link something from outside. Tableau, for instance, they already have an AI component. So ipo ungaloda data analysis ku, if you have been using Tableau, you can just use the AI components that they have in house. Tableau in itself is a good one. Visme is a good tool for graphs. With data analysis, oda solringala. So Tableau does data analysis as well. SPSS வந்து இப்போ நம்ம டேட்டாலேருந்து எடுக்கணும்னா SPSS in itself is a good tool. Tableau is a good tool. SAS னு ஒன்று இருக்கு. And then you have coders with Python R base பண்ணி நிறைய tools இருக்கு. So Pythonல நீங்கள் ப்ரோக்ராம் பண்ணலாம், இல்லை you can use R, which again leans on Python. அதுவுமே வந்து data based graph generationக்கு they are all good tools. அப்படி ஒரு யூஸ் கேஸ் நான் பார்த்ததில்லை சார், பட் ஷுட் பி பாசிபிள். மேபி என்ன ஸ்கேன் பண்ணணும்னு நினைக்கிறீங்க அதை பொறுத்து? ஓகே, அதுக்கு வி ஆல்ரெடி ஹாவ் ஆப்ஸ் இல்லைங்களாங்க சார்? வி ஆல்ரெடி ஹாவ், யூ கேன் ஜஸ்ட் ஹாவ் தி ஆப் ஆன் யுவர் ஃபோன். இல்லை, that app basically identifies the plant, and then it is just a matter of having a picture and then transferring it. உங்களோட normal Android connectivity, I feel it is more than enough to transfer them. But there are cookbooks with AI. So உங்க ingredients வந்து நீங்க ஸ்கேன் பண்ணீங்க அப்படின்னு சொன்னா, லைக் ஃபோன்ல ஸ்கேன் பண்ணீங்க அப்படின்னா, what all you have in your fridge, ஸ்கேன் பண்ணி அப்லோட் பண்ணீங்கன்னா it will give you a recipe, what you can make using all those ingredients. அதையே வந்து இந்த ஹாட் பாட்ஸ், ஒன் பாட் குக்கர் கூட இன்டகிரேட் பண்ணி, இந்த இன்க்ரீடியன்ட் இருக்குது, ஐ ஆட் ஆல் ஆஃப் திஸ் இன் தீஸ் பேஸ்கெட்ஸ், இட் வில் டிசைட் ஆன் தி ரெசிபி. நீங்கள் ஓகே அப்படின்னு சொன்னீங்கன்னா இட் வில் ஸ்டார்ட் ப்ரிப்பேரிங் இட் ஆன் இட்ஸ் ஓன். ஸோ
மேம், to design a 3D models, AI is available. 3D models.
Model, ma'am?
3D model, 3D view of machines.
3D viewers, I'm not sure of the name, but definitely there are tools. இப்போ ஃபார் இன்ஸ்டன்ஸ் இப்போ உங்களோட இன்டீரியர் டிசைனர்ஸ் வீடு கன்ஸ்ட்ரக்ட் பண்ணுறீங்க அப்படின்னா, இன்டீரியர் டிசைனர்ஸ் தே ஆல்ரெடி ஹேவ் த 3D மாடல் டூல்ஸ். ஸோ நீங்கள் ஆஸ் யூ வாக் இன் எப்படி இருக்கும், கம்ப்ளீட் இன்டீரியர்ஸ் வந்து 3D பண்ணி தான் கொடுக்குறாங்க. ஸோ ஐ எம் ஷியோர் வென் தே ஹாவ் இட், இட் இஸ் வெரி ஈஸி டு கெட் தோஸ் டூல்ஸ். ஐ டோன்ட் நோ தி நேம் ஆஃப் தெம், பட்
For example, if it is a DC machine, I want to see one part. if I want to design a single part of a rotor or a stator, or in a mechanical machine, if I want to design a gauge, I want to know that which.
CAD work ஆகாதா மேம் உங்களுக்கு?
No, CAD is available, ma'am.
Okay.
If I give a part of that part of the gauge, I want to get the full view of the gauge, how it will be, full design. If I give a part of that, whether I'll get the full view of that.
இல்லை பட் எக்ஸ்பான்ஷன்ஸ் ஷுட் பி பாசிபிள் சார். இப்போ அவங்க கேட்குற மாதிரி ஒரு ஹாஃப் கொடுத்தா கேன் இட் எக்ஸ்பேண்ட் ஆன் இட்னா ஐ திங்க் யூ ஷுட் லுக் அரவுண்ட் CAD மேம், பிகாஸ் தே ஆர் தி மேஜர் பிளேயர்ஸ் இன். யா இல்லை பட் ஐ எம் ஷியூர் தேல் பி ரீப்ளேஸ் சார். ஸோ தட் இஸ் வேர் யூ ஷுட் ஸ்டார்ட் யுவர் சர்ச்னு நான் நினைக்கிறேன் மேம். CAD சுற்றி பாருங்கள், வாய்ப்பு இருக்குது. So any other questions? Okay. Thank you once again.
I thank Dr. K.S. Soumyarani for enlightening us on AI, taking us a virtual tour this morning, slide by slide, deep down, beautifully unveiling the world of AI. Thank you, ma'am. Now, may I request Dr. S. Vijayan to propose vote of thanks.
The respected Principal Sir, Dean Academics Ma'am, Dean Administration Sir, heads of various departments, my dear colleagues, and today's resource person, Dr. K.S. Soumyarani Ma'am. Good afternoon to everyone. So, on behalf of Department of Mechanical Engineering and Research and Development Cell, I stand before you to propose the vote of thanks for this occasion. So, first and foremost, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our management and beloved Principal Sir for continuously supporting and motivating us for all our efforts and activities. Next, I express my heartfelt gratitude to our today's resource person, Dr. K.S. Soumyarani Ma'am, for exploring the power of AI tools. Your insightful session has not only expanded the knowledge about AI tools and also the knowledge on how these AI tools enhance the quality and efficiency of our academic research works. Thank you, ma'am. Finally, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to all our colleagues for your participation. Once again, thank you to all. Have a great day.
Thus, we have come to the end of this valuable session. Have a pleasant afternoon. Thank you. Presenting a memento to our guest, Dr. K.S. Soumyarani, we request our principal to present the memento. Let's all give a big hand for that. We present this as a remembrance. Technology owes an apology. Thank you once again, sir. Thank you, everyone. Have a pleasant afternoon.